Man, I love that intro. It's pretty proud of it. Hey, how's everybody doing on this fine Thursday night? I know if you're like me and have worked a tremendous amount of hours this week, you're tired as hell. You can probably hear it in my voice. The struggle is real out here. No worries, though. I wanted to get on this week and talk, continue my reflections chat. I actually got on a little early because things lined up, and if I can get done, do this little bit of a live stream early and not have to go to sleep later, it works out because I got to be at work at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? Again, I hope everybody watching this is doing well. Today we're going to be talking about the mind and different ways you can reprogram your mind in order to, they always talk about the power of positive thinking and that stuff. That's what I wanted to talk about, stuff that's helped me personally. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I'm not getting and putting myself on a pedestal here and saying that I'm perfect by any means. But what I'm going to do is try to offer people watching, tools to try to get out of mental funks that they may be in, depression funks that they've been in for a long time, or, anxiety, etc. The list goes on and on. I've literally suffered with depression and anxiety my entire life, crippling anxiety. The fact that I'm even on here talking to people is a big thing for me because, again, I've had social anxiety disorder my entire life. I've been scared to speak my mind. I've been, more concerned with what people think about me than I should be because I feel, a sense of inadequacy, right? So these are things that, you got to come to terms with. And as somebody who is dove deep into myself and my eye, the way my mind works, I have accepted these flaws, you know what I mean? And every day is a new challenge. Every day is a new chance to be different. But anyway, let's dive into some of these concepts I wanted to chat about. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Dr. Joe Dispenza, but if you ever want to learn how to rewire your mind, this is a person to look into. So Dr. Joe Dispenza is known for his work in the field of neuroscience, meditation, and personal transformation. He emphasizes the power of the mind to create change in one's life. Some of the stuff he recommends are meditation and mindfulness, visualization, affirmations, emotional healing, gratitude practice, breaking habits, neuroplasticity exercises, consistency, and patience. That's a big one there. Patience is a big problem for a lot of us, especially those of us who have kids. It's a struggle to be patient sometimes, no doubt. But let's talk about meditation and mindfulness. So meditation is probably the single most powerful tool that, nobody uses. You hear about it like, oh, that's, something the Buddhists do, and it's like taboo. I'm going to sit and quiet my mind. How can I do that if I can't quiet my mind? And that was a big problem for me for a long time. And I actually realized through, reading, you don't necessarily actually have to quiet your mind to meditate properly. The fact is there is no 100% proper way to meditate. The fact that you're sitting there, trying to focus on the moment, focus on your breath, that is enough right there, you know what I mean, to have an effective meditation. But it's a powerful tool for reprogramming the mind. It helps you become aware of your thoughts, patterns, and beliefs and emotions. Regular meditation practice allows you to observe your thoughts without judgment and create space for change. That's key, what I mean? Observe your thoughts, right? So on a day-to-day basis, we're going through the day, and a lot of people have really negative thoughts about themselves. And in meditation, it's a good time to sit and actually, as these thoughts come up, you can ask, where are they coming from? Where are all these negative thoughts coming from? Why do I feel this way about myself? And honestly, it's helped me a lot, with my negative self-image and all that stuff. It's super key. I've done it pretty much every single night for several years now. I used to smoke a bunch of weed and sit and meditate. That was my thing. For a long time, but I get drug tested at work, so I can't do that. Right. So, that's my thing. I don't necessarily, I'm not saying you should go out and smoke weed all the time, but if you're going to do anything, that's the one to do. Use it for spiritual purposes. You know what I mean? The other things, There's all kinds of teas that can help with that stuff. But another thing would be, visualization is another thing Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, and it involves mentally rehearsing and experiencing the desired outcomes or changes in your life by vividly imagining your goals and desires. You can actually rewire your brain to align with these intentions. And there's a key to why this practice is so powerful. So any of these books that talk about people becoming famous, they always tell you to visualize your goals, and they don't really get to the nitty gritty as to why that is. And the fact is, what they don't tell you is that we have an influence over our reality based on the law of attraction. You attract what you are. There is no doubt in my mind that if you believe in anything, the law of attraction is 100% real. And we are actively creating our reality, actively influencing our reality, if you will. So by visualizing what you want, consistently on a day-to-day basis, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, the infinite consciousness is going to eventually, react with that. And this is going to be drawn into your experience. It's fascinating when you start to do these things and you start to prove this to yourself. Like it's provable. The thing about it is, if you try this and nothing happens, right? You have zero to lose. You're not losing anything by consistently trying it. And let's not be ridiculous. And the usual common thing is, I want to visualize myself with $1 million. And the thing about it is, it's not as simple as that, right? So all these books, like the book, like Think and Grow Rich is a good example. I'm obsessed with that book. I read it now 3 times. And the fact is, you can visualize yourself as a millionaire, but you also need to develop a plan on how you're going to get there, right? You're not going to, necessarily $1 million is going to fall into your lap, because you have to match that consciousness in your mind. So what are you going to do to gain that? You know what I mean? You start a business and you put it in your mind that your business is going to be successful. You visualize that every single day. That is going to, heaven and earth is going to get moved, and you will become successful in your endeavors. But the fact is, you have to also put forth, actions, catalytic actions, if you will. And that is a big thing that people don't, realize. And another thing about it is you have to be consistent. One of the last things that it talked about here was consistency and patience. A lot of people, when they try these things, they do it for a few days and they're like, oh, I've been good for a few days, and then they give up. People try exercise for a few days. They don't notice immediate results, so they give up and walk away from it. Or they try a diet for a week. Everybody listen to this, I guarantee you, has done this, right? You've tried a diet, tried exercise. Oh my God, my arms are not getting bigger, so I'm not going to keep doing this. But the fact is, you give yourself a month, 2 months of doing it, you're going to notice changes. You give yourself 6 months, you're not going to recognize yourself anymore. That's the facts. It is all about patience and consistency and actually keeping, to what you're doing and not giving up. Once that happens, I'm telling you, once you start to actually do these things, you start to legitimately heal, or you start to go in the direction that you want. Me getting on here and doing this podcast, for me, is a prime example of that. Like a few years ago, I was terrified to even talk to people. Like, I have literally been diagnosed with social anxiety disorder, depression, told that, I'm broken and I need to be on all these medications. And that's just, whatever you want, they want to do to create a customer, right? But the fact is, what I've done is consistently, anytime these negative thoughts about myself come up, I take them out immediately and replace them with something better. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm worthless or this or that. Instead, I'm worthy. I am enough. I am, doing the best that I can. These kinds of things, it sounds silly, but you do it enough and you literally start to change your internal beliefs about yourself and therefore the world. All the great self-help books tell you that there is nothing to change but yourself. If you're sitting here complaining about all the things going wrong in your life, You have to change the way you view the world. And the only way to do that is by changing you. That is key. If you're in consistently having crappy relationships over and over again, and you keep going into new relationships, you're bringing that same self into these new relationships. So you need to work on you, and then the world will change around you. This is 100% true. I promise you. There is no one to change but you, and in marriage, I figured that out over the years. There's quite literally nobody to change but you. And that's just a fact. Let's see what's going on here. Take a little brief pause and drink some water. My thing's broken. I can't tell if anybody's actually watching, but oh well. I just hope it's actually live here. Give me just a second pause. Double check my YouTube. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching indeed. I'm just checking to see if I'm actually live here. I am. Cool. It's good to know, bro. Good to know. Anyway, again, back to where I was talking about. So how I got on this subject, how I got on this idea is when I was suffering quite heavily with, mental illness my entire life, if you will, illness, quote unquote. I'm not going to use that term. I use that term loosely, but because I've been diagnosed with major depression and all this stuff. And then you start to realize once you really, really dive deep, what you have is trapped inside of you. So you have emotions, you have something that you're not dealing with inside of you, regardless of, that I'm not, nothing's bothering me, but you're consistently depressed all the time. Something is going on. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in that. Like, if you are depressed all the time, go see somebody, go talk to somebody, get, the help that you need so you don't end up doing something stupid. I talked with a friend today about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he asked me if I ever, thought about committing suicide. And this is a really heavy subject and it's a trigger warning. I'm sorry. And the fact is, I can honestly say that I have, and that's a terrible thing. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm a real person, and real people at some points in their life sometimes think this stuff, and was at the lowest point in my life at that point in time. And what I'm saying is that type of, killing yourself or committing suicide doesn't change, what has already happened. What it changes is it eliminates the possibility of any good things in your life. And it sucks. It destroys everybody around you. Everybody blames themselves. It is the worst. You know what I mean? It's just terrible. And honestly, you can change your life. You can change your thoughts. You can make changes today that change your entire life within a couple of years, within a couple of months. Anybody can change within the twinkling of an eye. It's just the facts. And you don't need the Bible. You don't need religion. You don't need anything but you. What you need is to change your thoughts. A book I can recommend for this kind of thing to learn more about this is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. When I read that book, I had an aha moment. I had like a spiritual experience reading that book. I realized that it isn't. So in the book, it talks about quite heavily. It says it's not the thing believed in that it's not the thing that believed in that matters. It is the belief itself that matters. So like when people are praying to all these different gods, they're praying to something higher than themselves, and it activates the subconscious mind, which is linked to the cosmos, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, the underlying faculty in all these different religions. It's all the same. They may have different versions, different names, different whatever you want to call it, different dogmas, but it's all really based on one universal truth. And that's the creator of the entire universe, God itself, the universe itself. Some people get mad when you call it the universe, but the fact is the entire universe is God. But I've said this before, I'll say it again. But what I realized again, it is the subconscious mind that is what is the driving force behind the law of attraction. So by consistently feeding your subconscious mind, which is your deep deep part of your mind, and they've done all kinds of tests on this. There's all kinds of science. I've read everything I can possibly read on the subconscious mind, and it's 100% true. I've proven it to myself. That's why the idea of manifestation works. That's why the idea of replacing your thoughts with positive ones works. It's because you create your reality. And what does that is your subconscious mind. You are a magnet. Look at yourself like a magnet, and you are magnetizing things into your experience all day, every day. That's a fact. And one of the ways that you can actually, reprogram your subconscious mind, again, is through meditations, affirmations. So affirmations is the big one. One of the best things you can do, write it out. I have this journal right here that it's called the 369 journal, that I've been sitting and I write affirmations every single day based on what I'm trying to attract into my experience. And what you do is you 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the afternoon, 9 times, 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night. I've been doing this for a little bit now, and I like it. I like the way this journal is set up, actually. Not an advertisement, by the way. Just I was given it as a gift. I actually love it. But one of the ways that Dr. Joseph Murphy says in the Power of Your Subconscious Mind books to do is to get yourself into a sleepy, drowsy state, like right before you go to bed, and you consistently say it in like a prayer or a lullaby. So what you're doing is you're actually self-hypnotizing yourself and impressing these thought patterns onto your subconscious mind. That is the key. If you can do this, you get yourself into a sleepy, drowsy, meditative state and consistently command your subconscious, you will get what you desire. You will, again, it is going to attract what you desire into your experience, but you have to have your desire backed by faith. It's one of the things that talks about in the Think and Grow Rich book. Desire backed by faith is one of the most powerful things, powerful faculties we have. And what that means is that you take your desire, make it a burning, burning feeling. Like, I want this more than I want anything. You know what I mean? I want this business more than I want anything, and I'm not going to stop at anything to do that. You repeat this every single day, every single night, and it will happen. Again, you have 0 to lose to try this. You can do this with changing your thought patterns in your mind. You can do this with forgiveness. A really good trick to do before you go to bed is, if you're really, really stuck on something, the way out is forgiveness. You're stuck on a past emotion, it's forgiveness. Forgiveness is the way out. Like the Law of One, which is another book series I'm obsessed with, says that in forgiveness lies the stoppage of the wheel of karma. That means forgiveness is the end all be all. That's why it's a big focal point in Christianity. Forgiveness, you know what I mean? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus the Christ. It's a good one. But this is key stuff right here. It's very important. Practicing forgiveness every single night before you go to bed. I forgive you. I love you. Please forgive me. If you're trying to get somebody to forgive you, imagine them in your mind. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive the people that wronged you. You have to do it. Like, if somebody wronged you in the past and it was horrific, you need to forgive this to get that, those emotions trapped. Forgiveness does not mean what the other person did is okay. Forgiveness is releasing the energy that has the hold over you. That's the keys here, my friends. Anyway, I'm about running low on time here. This actually went quite a bit quicker than I was thinking it was going to. I got just about everything I'm going to talk about. I'm actually going to be doing the part 2 on this next week. I'm going to be talking more about manifestation, more about impressing your subconscious mind, more about the different. I'm going to go heavy into the subconscious mind, because honestly, once you really start to realize it, like really start to read about it, you realize that is what is the key behind all these religions. 100%. That's the key. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I appreciate you for watching. Please follow, click like. That helps me out. help me become an up-and-coming YouTuber, trying to spread inspirational messages and help people out, just a regular person just like you. And I'm using this not only to try to help other people, but to help myself. That's the key. We're one big community in this world, and we all need to come together and act like it. That's 100%. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Many, many blessings.